Hey, everybody. Today is May 5th, 2026, and you're listening to the While We Still Can podcast. I'm Lisa. I'm here with Tina, and today we are so happy to have Charity Mainville, who's the founder of Citizens Before Politics. And she has done so much work on, the things we can do to get this dumpster fire straightened out someday when well, if we quit, like if metaphorically, if we're a car rolling down end over end down the freeway in the middle of an accident, if we can get stopped and on our wheels, I think Charity has some ideas of what we can do to get moving forward again.
Hopefully.
Welcome. Thank you so
you.
much for
Thank
being
you so
here.
much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess I'll just, kind of dive in and explain
Yeah.
why.
Tell us your story. Like, who are you? Where are you from? What are you working on?
So, I grew up in Wisconsin. I'm a Midwest girl at heart. In a really small little town, the whole cow tipping party in the field thing, did that. Went to school, college, University of Madison. I'm a Badger. You don't mess with the Badgers. We all know that. So, and originally went to college because I wanted to actually get into law and forensic psychology. I have a huge, huge passion for psychology. I've probably taken more courses in psychology than a psychologist has at this point, but because it was really important for me. I wanted to do forensic psychology and, catch serial killers and profile and all that fun stuff. I'm so fascinated by it, but I'm just going to step away from this. So then I was like, well, if I didn't become a psychologist, my other goal was to become a magazine editor. I wanted to really get into magazine publishing. So I switched and went into media. And because at that time, I don't know, I felt like I just wanted to give people a voice because I think your voice is one of the most important things you can have.
May I ask, what did you wind up with your degree in, your undergrad degree?
Oh, so my degree's in consumer science, which
Okay.
is the study of how people, spend money and basically marketing / psychology, kind of just dabbled in everything. I have one of those brains that you give me something to learn, I can learn it super fast. But if I don't want to learn it,
it ain't happening.
Yeah.
And school, what I hate about college is that you have to take all these electorals, semesters where I'd be on probation because this is where I had to take all my electives, right? But then the next semester I'd be taking all the classes I want. I'd be on the dean's list. And
right.
So I just moved to Seattle and then started my own magazine. After a while, when I was in Seattle, I was in a very serious relationship, but the relationship was not a good one, and it actually caused a lot of issues in my life, and I ended up having to kind of step back from society. I had to let go of everything and heal myself, whatever you want to say, just because it was a very emotionally and verbally abusive relationship, and it actually almost cost me my life. So I was like, okay. And since then, I just do contract work. I consult, I do marketing, I build websites, I do video editing, I do a bunch of different skills. And then when I was in Denver, I discovered human design and, studied some astrology.
Because I'm I live there too.
Of course, right? I like to say it founded me, but with that being said, it opened up my eyes a lot of things too. Cause I'm all about self-discovery, and I had to understand what I went through too. So I went into I took nonstop courses in psychology, abnormal psychology, social psychology. Why did I get in this relationship? Why is this happening? And I also had to understand my ex and why he was the way he was. Because of course I'm one of those people oh, you have a problem? I'm going to fix you. Let me fix you. I love broken birds, right? Love them. Yeah. So and so I just studied, and then I got into genetics because there's, this whole concept that human design has to do with genetics. So I'm I want to know, is my human design and my genetics? So I'm I'm just going to start studying genetics. And then I was this is fascinating. I loved it. I loved it so much. And I'm this is what I'm going to do. So I decided I'm going to leave Colorado because the place I was living at was beautiful and I loved it so much, but they got sold to a developer, which is a whole nother issue in this country. But that's beside the point. 33 acres, had this beautiful house, my big dogs. And then they're we're going to turn it into an apartment building. And I'm
oh, that sounds perfect.
That's what they did to the whole Denver, Denver.
Yeah, it was really sad. So, and I loved the place. It was so awesome. But, it's when I've been working from home since, before it was cool. So I, can live anywhere, which is so hard to pick. Right. But, I study, like I said, astrology and human design, but I also study astrocartography, which has to do with where you move to, right? To where your environment affects you. Where are you going to be most successful based off of your charts and stuff? So I'm like, well, I'm going to do an experiment. Like if I'm going to be studying this stuff, I need to do an experiment because I'm all about like logic and fact and needing to check. So I chose, I'm like, I have to go to the East Coast. I've never lived on the East Coast. And oh, wait, I have to back up here a minute because this is important. So before I left Denver, this is where the wooiness is. And this is going to lead to whoever's listening to this. I just want you to know this does lead somewhere. So let me just say, so part of my healing journey from the situation, I did something called quantum.
Yes.
QHHT or something like
yeah,
QHHT, right? Quantum healing hypnosis technique there. So this is where you go under hypnosis for like 3 hours, right? So the first session is always like 5 hours because you have to meet with the hypnosis. They have to tell them the hypnotist, they have to tell them what they want. And now this is a technique that was developed by Dolores Cannon. And so she's written all these books, right? You can ask your higher self like questions, like any question you want. While I was under hypnosis, I had asked a question about genetics. Like, am I going to find my discovery? Blah, blah, blah. Right? I wanted to know about it. And I said, and I still have this recorded. So this is what's even crazier. But, and this was in 2022, like November 22. And I said, in 2025, I was going to make some major discovery. I was going to be on the East Coast, which at that time I didn't know when I was going to be moving or anything like that. And it was going to be very distressing for me. It wouldn't be my job. It's not what I'm going to be doing, but it's going to be affecting me to enough where it's going to cause a lot of suffering for me. And the woman that was doing the thing, she's asked if I would be in danger. And I said, no, but a lot of people are going to be really mad at me. And it's going to cause some problems. And I said, but I'll be fine. And it says, she's like asked about my dogs. My dogs are my children. And they're like, no, they're going to be fine too. And all this stuff. So I was thinking like this whole, like from like 2022 until before I moved to North Carolina, that I'm like, I'm going to make this discovery and it's going to be in genetics. And some people are going to be mad at me because they're not going to like what I have to say. Like I was so convinced that's what it was. So North Carolina, though, choosing North Carolina or anywhere along the East Coast is significant because for those that don't know, my Jupiter and Saturn line are on the side. I chose this specifically because supposedly when you go around to your Jupiter line, you are more prosperous, money-wise. Like you tend to be more successful and whatever. But because I was born in 1981, I'm born under something called the Great Conjunction. So, which I just totally aged myself, but that's fine. But it's in Libra. Now, Jupiter and Saturn affect law, legal, politics, and it's in my 10th house, which is career, purpose, reputation, all that, right? So now I've never been to these lines, didn't know. I'm thinking I'm going to move here and I'm going to start being prosperous. I'm going to like, everything's yeah. Which I will say like, yes, it's definitely been a more prosperous area. However, what they don't tell you in astrocartography is they pay attention to the signs. I didn't think about the fact that it was in Libra. Now, I've always been a very legally minded person. Like I said, I took criminal justice courses in high school. Like I don't know. I mean, when I had the magazine, I would have legal issues like with certain things every time. And I never had to go to court. I've also always been really good with landlords. Like, I mean, I've always rented because I move around so much, but like, but I had to find a place sight unseen. And North Carolina was super booming at that time. So this was like May of 2024. I meet this one chick that she seems really nice, super nice. And I tell her exactly what I need. She's like, oh yeah, the place is super nice. Like tells me that about a bunch of stuff that the neighbors are just this nice couple about to have a baby, super safe area. And I hadn't been to North Carolina in like 20 years. And because I only had 40 days to move because when they sold it, I had to go. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to trust you. And she sent me pictures. Look nice. Yeah, no, it wasn't. So, I mean, I drive across country and I get here and I'm like, like I said, she was so nice. Like, I just assume that like I try and I don't like conflict. So right. Take that back. It's not that I don't like conflict. I don't like avoid it, but I don't feel it's necessary. Right. Like I'm not going to like, if you're going to confront me, like I'll stand up for myself, but I'm usually pretty chill until you like mess with me. Yes. So for the first 2 months though, I tried to make it work. And after 2 months, I was just like, I told her, I'm like, I can't be here anymore. This is not working out for me. You know, it was supposed to be this nice couple living next to me. It was a family of like 8 people living in a 2-bedroom home. It was just a mess. And it was just too much. And it was a quadplex. So everybody was like next to each other. Right. And I assumed that she was going to be like, yeah, because I asked basically for reasonable accommodations. I'm like, this is affecting my mental health. And she knew, like, you know, I said, I'm asking for a reasonable accommodation. And she goes, yeah. So your lease says that you have to pay until like it's over with. So I'm going to do you a favor and say you can pay me $5,000 to leave the property, and because that's how long it's going to take me to rent it out. And I'm just like, no, like I don't have to do that. Like you misrepresented the property. Like that's the bottom line. And you know, and I knew about this. I'm very good with misrepresentation. Like I said, I mean, my degree's in consumer science. Like I know what you're doing, and it's not like the lease is not valid. It's you misrepresent the property. Basically, I had to the only this whole process. I will give credit to City of Raleigh because they're the only government facility or institution that I dealt with in this whole process that actually did what they say they're going to do. There was problems that weren't getting fixed in the property. And I said to her, you know, like, I'm going to report you to the city. Like they're going to come and inspect the property. Now in North Carolina, you cannot rent a property if it's not up to code. It's against the law.
Right.
And they found 14 housing code violations, which so done deal. Like there's no disputing the facts. You rented out a property. Now she got an attorney, and I tried going to the AG office first. They wouldn't take the complaint, which is against the rules. And I was like trying to figure out why nobody would give me an answer. I'm like, great. Again, to me, like, and it's hard because I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, like all these people are connected, but
they are.
They ended up all being connected, which is in this paper that I wrote. But so I started going, I went to small claims court first. She didn't care. She's like, take me to court. And I'm like, weird. And then my first experience with small claims, and that was the first time I've ever been in a courtroom or anything, right? Like, and I was like, I had everything, like the city report, everything, right? Like, and this magistrate was like, yeah, no, you just seem like a complainer. Like you just aren't happy with her when she's like, just totally berated me. And and I knew, like, you know, courts have problems with pro se litigants, or self-represented parties, but I did not expect and I have friends that are attorneys. Like one of my best friends from college is an attorney, and I called her, like, I was like, afterwards I was crying. I was like, why is this magistrate was so freaking mean to me? And she's like, I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. Like, and she's in California. We're California. Like judges don't do that stuff there, very rarely. Right. They are super strict there. And she's like, judges here would never speak to you like that. Like, that's ridiculous, And so this has rolled into like a 2-year thing where it's just supposed to be a small claims, and it's gone all the way up to the Supreme Court at this point. Because yeah, which is a whole nother problem. But
it started off so much anxiety for you. I'm so sorry.
Well, what's crazy is that, like, it went from small claims and it went to district court. Well, the moment I got into district court, like, judges were ruling just in favor with her. Like I'm like, is anybody, like, it wasn't even about what I was being told is what was so destabilizing to me, because it's like the rules didn't matter. Like, I'd be like, okay, where in the rules does it say this? Like, one thing that pro se litigants get a lot of bad rap is because they don't study the rules. I did. Like, I downloaded the rules of civil procedure. I was like listening to it in my car, doing dishes, like saying it back. Like, I'm like, I will learn every rule needed. You have to, and what people don't understand too is that we have a common law system. What they say, like what a law stays is not the law in this country, because you can't just go to court and say, hey, they violated this law. I have to also support it with case law that agrees with this law and see if it's been misinterpreted, right? But you can't get access to see if cases have been overturned or anything like that. You have to pay for Westlaw, which is a $5,000 a year fee, right? So I'm like, so you're basically playing like Russian roulette with case law unless you can afford that.
Right.
Well, and then she switched out attorneys in the middle of this, which is also not allowed, and the court allowed her to do that. Well, so basically I had to file something called an interlocutory appeal. Like, the middle of it's basically saying that they're violating my rights. Due process is not being done properly. So I'm going to go to the North Carolina Court of Appeals and have them corrected. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, this attorney that she hired used to work at the North Carolina Court of Appeals as a law clerk for years. And one of the judges is still on the bench there. Now, I'm going to say this very bluntly, that I think North Carolina may have one of the worst court systems in this country. And that's just not coming from me. I've spoken to a lot of people about this, but this court is really bad here. And all of a sudden the Court of Appeals was acting in ways that I'm like, something's wrong. Like they were issuing, like this attorney was filing orders that weren't supposed to be filed in the Court of Appeals. And they were trying to block it. They kept saying like, my rights weren't being violated. And I was just complaining and all that stuff. Like it was just, I was getting painted. And instead of litigating my case this entire time, it's been defending who I am as a person. Right. So, and then, the Court of Appeals started issuing these orders, but the thing was they don't list the judges' names on these orders. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong here. Like it got to a point where there was 8 like unconstitutional like orders that weren't in line with the rules. Like there's no precedent for this. There's no law that makes this make sense. And I kept saying like, if you guys don't stop this, I'm going to file in federal court, right? And so they didn't care. And I was like, I want the names of the judges that issue these orders. And they're like, no. And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And they're like, no, we don't allow that. We don't give out the names of the judges. And I'm like, you can't, that's against the First Amendment. Like you have to, like, we know, right? So, and they wouldn't. He's like, you can if you want to get a federal court order, then I'll give them to you. So it is not cheap. Okay, so first of all, when you file in federal court, it's not easy. It's not easy at all, right? And they hide, and you think that they're biased against pro se litigants in state courts, federal court. It's like wow, at least in the state. So I had to file in federal court under Section 1983. And what's really important about this, and this isn't legal advice. I'm going to say that right because I'm not an attorney, but I'll say this: Section 1983 is one of the statutes that's the most accountability against state actors. And the Supreme Court has butchered it. So like to a point where, what happened with the Voting Rights Act, this past week or whatever, this is what the Supreme Court does. This law was created in, I don't remember what year it was, the Reconstruction period, because of North Carolina, because it was the KKK here, right? Like, so they were doing some really bad things here, and they had unalived a politician here, a senator, and they impeached the governor because he was trying to follow the new rules and whatever. So they were trying to they had to declare martial law in the state against the KKK, and they were arresting them, but the courts refused to prosecute them. So they had to go. That's when the Congress was like, this can't, like, we have to hold these states accountable. Like, they can't be doing this, right? They can't be violating people's rights. They have to actually do the law. So they created Section 1983. So this is where you have the right to sue under a state actor. But this is what they don't tell you, and this is what I mean. You have to also pass now the Rooker-Feldman Doctrine, Younger-Abstin Doctrine, the 11th Amendment, there's like 7 different doctrines that you have to actually clear before you can even like get your case forward. It's insane. And this is civil rights violation. It's literally civil rights violation. And in the last, from 2020 to 2025, this case has become so obsolete that you cannot find an attorney that will take a case on like this. Very rarely. They're like usually niche attorneys, and it's really hard to find them. And it's flipped in the federal court system where it used to be mostly attorneys, and now it's all self-represented parties. And 9 out of 10 cases get dismissed before an answer is even filed. And in between 20 to 2025, there was over 60,000 civil rights, Section 1983 cases, and only 67 were found for a plaintiff in the lab. That's a 0.01%.
Those are tough odds.
Yeah. So, right. So but I was like, I don't care. Like they violated the law. Like no matter what, I'm like, I'm still bringing it because there's never been a case that has not allowed the names to be released. Like this is insane. Like I literally, when you come to case precedent, I cannot find a case anywhere in this country that will not reveal a judge's name. And the reason why, and this is what I put in my complaint. So this is not like defamation or anything, but this is my opinion of what I believe is happening. What I believe happened is that the clerk issued these orders under false pretenses. that because his name's the only thing that's signed on them, and that a judge did not issue these orders because he knew this attorney and them knew each other. They worked together. This is
Right.
and there was another case back a few years prior that this happened too. So I'm like, okay, right. So this is, so I had put that in my complaint. So I said, either one or two things are happening, that either the judges are not, they did this and they don't want to get named, or the clerk isn't, but why wouldn't the clerk then give me the names, right? Like if shouldn't a judge be proud of his order? Like, doesn't he want to stand by his order? I mean, there's so many problems with this. And so I'm telling the federal court, hey, this clerk may be issuing false orders in a court of appeals. Like, that's a huge thing. Well, the problem is that this judge in the federal court is a long-standing person in North Carolina, and his dad was also, he filled his father's seat. Yeah. So this judge has not been nice to me, and he basically accused me of being like Eve, that I am only filing this case and manipulating. He accused me of like falsifying evidence, like these things that like had no precedent, like nothing. Like I'm just like, and him and I are kind of like, I think we're in a little bit of a war here at this point. And he's, and I do my due diligence before I go. And you could get birthdays for people, so I always pull people's charts. I always like to know who I'm dealing with. I profile people for one of my clients here, so I'm like, I know how to profile people. This judge is very like emotional. Like he reacts emotionally if he feels like he's being like, because it started with the magistrate. So I went after his friend. Yeah, right. And I'm a woman, and like, and there's studies on this too, that women do get targeted, especially pro se women. And if you show any intelligence, but what's significant is that, and there's a whole other part of this too, because this has to do with HUD, like how HUD failed me, and like how, like there is all this stuff where it's so infuriating to know that these government groups or administration are taxes that pay for this, and literally they're being wasted, right? Because I also have a fair housing case against my landlord in the federal court. So I have two cases in federal court, but they're together because she started all of this, right? Like it was her influence or whatever the heck happened that she had these. But what's crazy is that in the fair housing case too, the judge is protecting her. She left the country, by the way, so she's not even in the country at this point. Yeah. So that case is a year old, and my fair housing case is a year old. I still haven't been able to serve her because she left the country. And now you can file for something for an alternative service where I can email her, but the judge denied me, stating that the affidavit, because I said I had to try two different sheriff's department. Plus I mailed her. Now she's a landlord. She's not allowed to leave the state, by the way, but that's fine. And then her registered address got rejected. So I gave all those to the court. Like I've done everything I can. And so the alternative method is she's out of the country. The officer wrote in there, she's out of the country. That was falsified, according to the judge. And that I need to locate, and I didn't tell him exactly where she was out of the country, and that I need to find exactly where she is. And I'm like,
how are you supposed to know where this woman's at?
Now, what's interesting about this is that the state attorney is also part of this 1983 case in the federal court, because I'm like accused. He's obviously working with these judges. It's three judges, the North Carolina clerk of court, and then a private attorney, administrative law judge in charge of HUD, or she does like, that's a little complicated. And then there's a landlord, but I can't serve the landlord because the judge keeps denying the ability to do so. And he keeps threatening to dismiss it. That case has been sitting there for a year. He won't do anything with it because he knows if he dismisses it, then I can appeal it. And so I'm in a procedural lock hold. So this is like the whole mess about it. Well, so I filed something called a writ of mandamus in the Fourth Circuit. I mean, again, like I don't file crap. Like, I mean, I case law. And what's fascinating is that for a year before I even went to the court, so you in North Carolina, like federal systems, if you're not an attorney, you have to like literally go in person, right? And you can't file electronically unless you get permission from the courts. And the court purposely denies pro se litigants to do so. This is a problem for me because I live over an hour away from the federal court. So if they file an emergency motion or something, like I either have to take 3 hours out of my day and file something, or I have to mail it, which then gets late. Okay. Which is a problem which has already been taken advantage of, but that's fine. Now, so at first I was incompetent, and they didn't approve me for electronic filing because I needed to learn the rules. Okay. Which I'm like, that's not a correct, like, I don't need to learn the rules. I filed properly. I haven't been, nothing, I haven't had any motions stricken, nothing. Like, I haven't violated any rules. And so, but this has been a huge problem. And the reason why that is so then I had to file a writ of mandamus in the Fourth Circuit. Now that's basically asking the Fourth Circuit to tell the district court to stop messing around. Like, they're issuing these orders that are inappropriate. They're delaying this case. You need to tell them to hurry it up. It's very hard to get one of these approved, but like, you know, like my brief was like tight. Like, I had so much evidence and like case law and everything. I felt, you know, so tight. Denied. And I'm like, and they denied it off of some random, like saying that I didn't prove delay. Well, and this is a little complicated, but that's not a reason to deny it. That's not, according to the Supreme Court, you have to meet 3 criteria. This is nothing about it. So I said, and they misquoted me. They said that I was asking for an appeal. I'm like, I wasn't asking for an appeal. In fact, I said it, but, and I knew that they did this. So I said it like 17 times in that brief, like, this is not an appeal. This is not an appeal. So I'm like, okay, this is becoming a problem. Like, what am I going to do here? And so the only other thing is that you can file for certiorari in Supreme Court. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. Well, while I did this, right? Like, this is like, and this is what's crazy about the Supreme Court. You guys have to see, this is insane, right? Like, so the Supreme Court, if you have 2 options, you can either pay, right? Or you file for something called IFP. Now, if you pay, you have to pay and get a book printed like this. This is the size and this is not a standard size. This looked like it would be a standard size. It was actually a special size. You have to print 40 copies of this. Okay. And then you send that to the Supreme Court. Like, or you can apply for IFP and then just print it out on regular paper and get 10 copies. Okay. So I'm like, but I was like, the problem is because of the research I did, if you apply for IFP in federal court, your cases usually get thrown out because they're frivolous, right? Like, there's a higher rate that you're going to dismiss. So I'm like, well, I'm going to pay for this. I'm going to put in a credit card. I don't care what I got to do because this is important. And while I was doing this and while I was filing this writ, I discovered that the Fourth Circuit has actually denied over 1,100 cases for mandamus against pro se litigants under no standards, without the standard clause for it. And I brought this to the Supreme Court. And this is a big
like
deal.
It at every turn.
Yeah.
You find that things are just atypical.
Yeah. So remember that that prediction I had. I started realizing, and this is all in 2025.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I'm thinking the Supreme Court, and it's really hard. So now that certiorari, you have to understand, is discretionary. So they don't have to take your case if they don't want to.
Right.
But there's a problem with that, is because what most people don't realize is that the Supreme Court gave themselves absolute interpretation of the law. And they are the supervising court for the circuit court. So if you bring something to them that says, hey, the circuit court is not acting in the manner that which they are, they should be required to take that. Because if they don't, who else is going to take care of it?
Right.
Well, so this is interesting because they denied my certiorari and they don't tell you why, right? And it's not even them. The judges don't even look at it. It's clerks. You have to get past like a 20-year-old clerk. Like, they literally don't, they look at this. 97% of certioraries don't even get in front of the judges. They don't even discuss it. And this is known because they put this in the code of conduct that they came up with not a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm one of those people that I'm like, okay, I can't sue the Supreme Court, but there's got to be something I can do. Yeah. So I did, I filed something called an All Writs Act, and I filed in the Supreme Court, and I said, you guys declining certiorari was a violation of the Constitution. Now, a lot of people have attempted this and they get denied, but the reason why they do is because they trap you. This is really important for people to understand about the Supreme Court. So what it is because in the Constitution, there's something called a non-delegation clause where so this Congress can basically create rules for the court, right? So what happened was in 1925, Taft went to Congress and said, hey, like, we're super busy. We're super overloaded. We just can't take all these cases. Can you pass a rule saying that we can have discretionary review? And if you do that, I promise we'll still take the big cases. We'll take the important ones, right? And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah, sure, Taft. And which started the problem then. In 1988, they passed another bill saying that all cases are discretionary. Like they don't have to take anything they don't want to, basically. And they created certiorari.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Supreme Court takes maybe like 70 out of 6,000 filed per year. I'm sorry, you guys are the highest paid judges in the court and you are taking 70 cases per year. There have been close to 250,000 cases that have been denied since 1993 from the Supreme Court. And that's a huge problem because those are constant, like, I'm not saying every single one, of course, they could have been, not, a lot of people think that you can just like apply for the Supreme Court and you can't, like, there's rules around this. So, but the point is that when they gave that discretionary review, they did not say who else would be picking up their slack. And that's a violation of the non-delegation clause. If they give it, it's kind of like if you, like when you go to HUD, right? Like if they don't do their job, there has to be an overseer that you can go to. Now, because the court, like I said, in 1803, gave themselves absolute power, there's no backup. So, and I had found this paper written by this person that discussed this. So I filed this thing I call it a writ of sui generis, which is called, like, it's a Latin, like a legal term for one of its own, which is one of a kind. Which I could, because according to the All Writs Act, I could. Because I couldn't file a writ of mandamus because they would automatically deny that, because that's not what this was. I couldn't file a writ of certiorari because if I did that, then they could have discretionary review not to do it. I was trying to do it where they would be required to review this and answer the question that I was asking. Like, who is in charge when you're not doing your supervisory power? You can only do it if you file it under a writ of prohibition, a writ of mandamus, or a writ of certiorari. And I said, I don't have to do that. The rules do not state that. She's like, this is the Supreme Court. Yes, you do. And I'm like, where in the rules does it say that I have to do that? Well, it's just known. That's not how this works. I go, okay, fine, that's fine. You guys can send it back. I go, then I'm going to refile it with a motion. I go, you guys cannot decide whether or not it's going to go in there. You are not a judge. So I will file a motion for judicial review to say that the judge has to be the one that says I can't file this. They said, if you file a motion, we will not file it if you try to send us one.
I have a question for you. So at this point, you've spent so much time and energy at the point you're at now. Are you in it at this point for the principle?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I have been. And since I went to Fred, I'm not asking for a lot of money. This is not about money for me. The reason why I did it is because the whole entire time I'm thinking, and I have spoken to other people that have gone through this, but I have, justice sensitivity is what they call it.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
Yes. So when I see an injustice, it like literally destabilizes me. Yes. And I'm like, oh my God. I
understand.
And I know what I'm doing. So like the fact of the matter is like, oh my God, how many people do they take advantage of? Like, this is horrible.
Literally everybody.
This is not like, I love history. So I'm like, I know the principles of justice. Like I said, like, I thought our justice system was legit. Like, I thought like,
I'm heartbroken.
Rules are rules.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been following fake ass rules for all these years.
Yeah.
Get in trouble for them? What the?
Right.
Well, it's just, there's so layers to this. And so, yeah, it's like, and at first, like, yeah, I could give up. And trust me, my friends and my family was like, girl, like, you need to like give this up. Like, this is stressing you out.
You're being dramatic. Are you kidding me?
No, they were more worried about my mental health. They weren't like, no, because it wasn't even that.
I know. People get worried about mine too. Yeah.
No, trust me, because I have friends, like I said, my friends are attorneys and my people I work with, they're all like, this is crazy, right? But they were just like, is it really worth it? I'm like, it is worth it because I will fix this problem, right? So this has all led me to now we get to the actual part, right? No. So this is, first I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Right? Like this is ridiculous. First I was like, oh, well, I'm going to write a white paper. I'm going to have to write, first I was going to do it for a law journal. And I'm like, I'll just write about this, and for me, I kind of do things backwards, right? Like, I'm like, okay, why is this happening? What are we not seeing here? Like, right. So I'm like, I have a feeling this has to do with like the Constitution. And I started reading the Federalist Papers and I'm like, dude, Hamilton was like kind of a douchebag because I'm like,
not good. It's not like, good.
And you know what? I'll tell you this. Like, I'm not trying to diss the founding framers, whatever, founders, whatever, right? Like, girl, they were the men of their time, like, whatever. Right. They were, geez, whatever. But, they were in a time. But the fact is that Hamilton was a young person, okay? And so I'm like, either, but they weren't stupid. But how they built the judiciary in the Constitution, they either did it because purposely or because they really were stupid. One of the two. Like it doesn't make sense, because Hamilton, when I read that, Hamilton's like, well, it's the least dangerous branch. We don't really have to worry about it because it's mere judgment. All they have is judgment. They don't have any other power. And I'm like, so this dude who is obsessed with words and writing Federalist Papers and all these words, and he's going to say that the courts have we don't have to worry about them. We don't have to put any stipulations in the Constitution because they don't have any power. Like, really? Okay. So again, I'm like this. So my theory in practice was like, this Constitution was built like to protect the courts. Were an open capture. They did it on
We
purpose.
talk about that
Right?
almost
So
every episode. The system is
my paper
protecting
proves it.
itself. Yes.
Okay, so I was like, I can't just say that. You can't just say it, right? You have to have evidence to it. I'm not the first one that came up with this. And what's even crazier, so this paper ended up being 172 pages, but but it's because I put my case in a case study in there. So it's actually, the paper itself is about 80 some pages. The second thing I was like, okay, then I kept thinking about attorneys, right? Like these attorneys that I've been dealing with are just so bad. Like so bad. Now, North Carolina, I'll say this, is the worst state for attorneys. And that's based off the statistics. Like 1 in 3 attorneys get complaints about here, right? And again, 0.03 get repercussions. So 30% rate, 0.03, whatever. Anyways, with that being said, I was like, why is there such like a disdainment towards pro se litigants? Like, this doesn't make sense. So these are the questions that I asked myself. And I'm like, why do I think like that brought me to eugenics? And I'm like, oh, the ABA was created right at the same time the eugenics movement kind of started kicking off. Yeah. So the President Root, I don't know how to say his first name, so that's why I'm not saying it, but he was actually a big supporter of the eugenics movement. They started professionalizing it because they wanted to keep immigrants out of the courts and these like foreign invaders that are trying to come in. They wanted to keep it as this white Protestants like profession. Trying to require to get a degree when 5% of the population at that time could actually even afford a degree. Women couldn't even go to school at the time. Like, it's just ridiculous. And it was all about this whole movement with eugenics, right? So, and that stipulation, and I talk about this in the paper, and on the side I have these things called citizen papers, but the problem is that even with this country, right? Like we started this country in colonization, which
we genocided.
Yes. And that's a sociopathic society. We created a country in a sociopathic norm. That norm, just like how, intergenerational trauma goes passed down to families, society does too.
Right.
And that is why, like, we are in these situations that we're in. Like, the hate in this country is so intense and it's so ignorant. It's like so stupid, because the only reason why they do that is they literally did it to keep us divided. Like,
absolutely.
When they codified race in Virginia, literally because the poor people gathered against the people, and they're like, well, this can't happen. So, we need to pick a color basically and decide which one gets more benefits, which at that point, white supremacy or whatever was rising, right? So they're like, well, this is how we're going to do this. And it stayed this way the entire time. They purposely divide us to not pay attention. And that keeps getting passed down generation. And then, of course, they put that in the Constitution, right? When they said that with the Great Compromise. So I started looking more into this, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to write this paper. Is this going to do anything? Maybe, maybe not. Probably not. We'll just see what happens, right? And that's what I sent to Congress yesterday, was that paper, by the way. So I sent it to the Judiciary Oversight Committee in the House and in the Senate activity and stuff. So I know they clicked on it. So I know they clicked on my site too. And I'm like, ooh, they're not going to like this, because politicians are not going to like what I'm doing. But with that being said, I was like, okay, second question is, why don't we ever amend the Constitution? Like, is it weird that we like don't amend it? So again, these are questions that I keep asking. And so then I'm like, I go and research, right? So I find out like, oh, this is interesting, which is this great site called the Constituent Project, or the Constitution Project. It's on my site. Either way, fascinating, amazing site. So you can read every constitution of every country, right? But they also take this data, which I love data, love it. So give me numbers. I will crunch them nonstop. Where I'm like, wow, 80% of constitutions in this world have and protect the environment. Why don't we? Right? That's one. There's only 3 constitutions in this world that allows for guns. We're one of them. Yay. You know, and what's amazing about this is that they track it over time. Like, right, why do all these countries have done these things where they protect children, protect the right to education, protect the right to health care, all this stuff. Why don't we? Well, what's craziest about this is that the reason why all these constitutions have changed, because most countries rewrite their constitution every 19 years. We don't. Like, Lord forbid, that'd be so scary. And we don't amend it because of the polarization in this country, right? Like, it's really hard to amend a constitution because you have to have 2/3 of Congress, or, it has to be a state convention, which we've never enacted and we've never used that method. So there's, you have to propose it one way. And the reason why they refuse to do it is because all the states aren't going to come together to propose one constitution because states hate each other. But the problem is that the country has an identity crisis, right? Like, are we a country united by states, or are we a country of states united? And the fact of the matter is that we're supposed to be a federalist state. And I think one of my biggest pet peeves, and I feel like I've been talking nonstop, and you guys can interrupt me this time.
No, it's fascinating. Keep going.
One of my biggest things is, like, when people say that we're not a democracy, and I'm like, what are we? What?
Constitutional republic.
Exactly. No, but you know what? Exactly. They're right. We are constitutional. We are. Okay, just so if anybody's freaking listening, this is what the United States is. We are a democratic framework of a federalist democracy, constitutional republic. That is the full version of it. And I have this on the site. So when you go on Citizens Before Politics, you click learn. And I did it. I try to do it fun. I like to, my whole thing was like, I don't want this to be boring.
Your website's very nice.
Thank you. But, I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be like so if you go into learn it, you can build the US government, right? So you literally build it. And I say, like, this is what each of them. Yeah. And it's a quiz too. Like, and I have like funny things, like if you pick the wrong thing, like, right. Like, so, but what people don't understand is all of these words mean something, and it has to do with how power is distributed. And, if we're not a democracy, then we're either an oligarchy, which is how we act like we are,
right,
or an, autocracy, which we're not, right? So when people say that, I'm just like, well, then I have people that say, well, we're not a pure democracy. Did democracy lose its virginity? And I wasn't aware, because I'm pretty sure, what does that even mean? Like, what do you mean a pure democracy? From what I understand is that when people means that we're not a direct democracy. And I'm like,
every single person doesn't vote, and every single, we're represented by representatives.
That's still a democracy. Right. And the fact of the matter is that we actually used to be what is called a census democracy, which is where you had to make a certain amount of money to even be able to vote. And that was back in the day. That's when it was first started. I mean, a lot of people don't realize that only like
wealthy landowners.
Only 6% of the population could vote. And that was called a census democracy. And a lot of countries were like that back then, and they changed that into more of a representative democracy. But what's crazy is when they say that we're not, I'm like, do people not realize, like, a lot of the states here actually are direct democracies? Like, not in North Carolina, of course. But like in Colorado, you can vote on laws there. California has a direct democracy. So it's not that we are a direct democracy in some states. Like, so to say that we're not a pure democracy.
They're trying to get rid of that here. Yeah. They're trying to get rid of that here in Missouri. We're about to vote.
Oh, really?
If we're allowed to vote on it. Yeah.
Well, I hope that you guys.
Okay. No, that's what's really funny that you're talking about all of this is our legislature is literally, we've passed like several ballot initiatives in the past, 10 years. And pretty much every single one, they'll go in and they'll be like, oh, they don't know what they voted for, and overturn it.
Oh, yeah.
It's infuriating.
No, like over and over and over. And then we do it again and again. And I'm like, hey guys, how about we just like not vote for people that overturn the will of the people?
Right.
What are you doing? And then I'm like, I guess everybody is corrupt. I don't know.
And that's how hard, right? Because then this is what creates conspiracy theories and the hatred in this country, right? Because of these things that happen. And that's so annoying. But the thing about it is too, is like, do they not understand what a representative? You have to. The whole point is that you listen to the people. I mean, literally, we the people means that the people are the ones in charge. Now, this is why, like, with the site that I built and stuff, like, and what I'm doing, I realized, like, this is going to be my biggest hurdle, is trying to get people to understand what I'm doing. Because, so what I did was found out that, first of all, the constitutions, I took all these indexes, right? Like, we have the World Justice Index in the rule of law, which the United States is like, we're like 118 for, like, free from discrimination in our courts, by the way.
Oh,
That's cool.
that's
Or
cool.
like,
I
like
do.
108. Maybe it's 108. Don't quote me on that, but I know it's like we're really low, right?
There's an 8 in there.
Yeah, but it's out of 143. Like, we're in the bottom. We're in the bottom pit. Like, that's disturbing. Yeah, and access to justice, we're like 112. Cool. So people can't even afford to get attorneys in this country. That's great. What's Congress doing about that? Nothing. That's
Nothing.
cool.
They're not doing much of anything that's productive.
Yeah, well, like I said, and the paper I wrote basically tore them apart because I said that they failed at their duties. Like, there's literally
Absolutely they
nobody
have.
doing anything.
Yeah.
They're
So-
bending a knee. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and so then I'm like, why? And then I took like the human, no, not the human freedom. Did I take the human freedom index? I took 5 different indexes of good government, whatever. So I put all this in a spreadsheet, started doing some calculations, and I'm like,
I'm
okay,
doing your job for you. Here.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, exactly. I'm like, let me tell you how this works, government. So I'm like, we are ranked at 27 out of these like trusted courts and government with all these different indexes, which honestly, I don't even believe that's really true. I think it's a lot worse than that. But, they have to understand that these indexes are samples. They're not like full, whatever. Either way. So I took the top 20 countries. I took their constitutions. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to analyze what do these constitutions have that we don't have? What's the difference? And then I looked into Congress and legislation that has been tried to pass, because there's been like 11,000 different amendment proposals that have been approached in Congress. Of course, they just never passed, right? And some of these, you guys ever go to congress.gov and look at some of these legislations that they're trying to pass? It is freaking disturbing. I'm like, as I'm looking through this, I'm like,
Oh yeah.
somebody's
it's so
trying to pass
bad.
a bill to use the word to define gender. We're wasting our tax money because you want to say that a woman is a female. What do you care? Why do you care?
Yeah.
I don't care about
it's
that.
So they know who to discriminate against under this.
It's so stupid. Like, I'm paying taxes so you can. Do you
Want
that's
to
not
talk
even-
about other kids' genitals? Yes.
God, it's so annoying. I'm like, you guys don't know
Yeah.
anything about this. Like, I'm sorry, you still
It's
stuck in
creepy.
eugenics.
It's creepy.
Well, and it's like you're still stuck in eugenics. You do realize, like, people, like, the anatomy of something, right? Like, do you understand like anything about like X and XY and like anyways.
No, they don't. They don't.
Let me just
They're
calm down.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, Jesus, even Jesus would not be happy with this. Okay, I'm telling you right now, like Jesus would be like, I don't want to move.
Yeah.
He would not migrate to the States. I'll tell you that right now.
No, he would not. And he was definitely not the white guy they keep putting everywhere.
Oh, I'm sure he's kind of like, listen, this
He's
goes against
smoking a cigarette.
everything I'm talking about. Like, I feel bad. I'm like,
He's
if I
smoking a
was
couple
dead,
cigarettes. I'd feel, yeah. He ain't rising again. I'll tell you that.
I
He ain't
wouldn't.
coming back. I wouldn't either.
It's like when people are like, the aliens are going to come to save us. I'm like, why would they? Why would they? I would,
Oh.
if I was an alien, I would be like, go, just go. That's hopeless. Like,
That's hilarious.
Well, that's what's funny about the alien conversation. They're like, "Aren't you scared if they're coming?" And I'm like, "The baby eating pedophile, like they're here. Like
yeah,
I don't. I'm not.
freaking aliens. No,
I'm
like,
not
they're
scared.
not. Yeah,
They're already
no.
here.
No,
I'm not.
definitely
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then so I'm like, my first goal was like, I'm just gonna write a few of these amendments for the courts. We just got to structure the courts. Once we fix the courts will be fine. And I'm like,
Easy.
Yeah, just something to do over the weekend, right?
well, for me, it was. That's what I do. Like, I don't
Yeah,
sleep.
yeah.
I'm like, when I go down my rabbit holes, like I
No,
said, I'm on it.
totally
Like,
no.
when I go on it, it's, I turn off my phone. I'm like, do not disturb.
Yeah.
I don't have a life. Like, this is probably the most social interaction I've had in the past, like, 6 months than I've had in, like, years, because I'm just so, like, I've been spending so much time.
Supreme
on all
Court.
this.
Yes, I get.
One filing that usually, like, a team of paralegals takes 1 hour. For me, it takes 8 hours. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's annoying. But again, because I'm too much of a perfectionist and I got to follow the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so I drafted the 4 for the courts, because the biggest thing is that, for one thing, is our judges. Like, how we choose our judges is stupid here. Like,
Yeah.
It's so political. Like, why are we doing that? Most countries have a commission. Why don't we have a commission? A majority of countries allow citizens to be part of that commission. We don't. I mean, Lord forbid, if you're a pro se court, you're like the demon child. So I don't know. Like, it's so like the way the legal system in this country is so like there's so superiority. Like, oh, we're so smart because we have JDs and like, I'm sorry, sweetie, like justice, like the core principle of justice is that the average person can understand it. Do you not like? When anybody tells me, like when these attorneys or anything, I was like, well, it's so complicated. It's not complicated. It's complicated because we gatekeep the information that's needed to be able to litigate a case. That's a completely different situation. It drives me nuts. So, but then I was like, okay, well, so I drafted the 4. We're going to split the Supreme Court and have a specific constitutional court, also very common in most of the countries. Like, why? Like the Supreme Courts, they're so busy. Why didn't Congress think of that to begin with? Like, instead of actually, I don't know, maybe finding another court to give some responsibility to, we're just going to cut people's access to justice instead. Yeah, that sounds like a better idea. Like, what is going on, right? So all this stuff is just so annoying. Like, these are simple things. Like, and the biggest problem with the Constitution too is that they're so vague. Our amendments are so vague. I'm like, the reason why we have such a backlog of court is because there's so much room for interpretation. So the amendments that I drafted, I'm also super like strict on it, right? Like there's like numbers and there's all the things that should have been done. But then I was
no questions.
Okay, yeah, you don't need to worry about this going to court because it's clear. It's clear as day.
Yeah.
You don't have to interpret it. It's very, very clear.
It's interpreted.
If you interpret it wrong, there's a fail safe, which is not happening right now, right? So, and I also have it where the courts actually have some power to enforce their orders, like Epstein file, like that.
Right.
Like that was a big one. I haven't talked about that amendment yet, but that's, so there's 4 core principles to a democracy because we are a democracy, which is free and fair elections, the rule of law, checks and balances, civil and individual liberties. And I'm like, okay, so let's just do that first. Let's talk about that. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to do civil liberties. Like I can't do individual rights at this point because I'm trying to make this non-ideological, right? Like if I try to put anything in about the environment or anything, I'm just going to get attacked because they're going to say that.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And what people don't realize is, by the way, is why all these amendments in other countries have what they have is because of the United States.
And you mean we learn from our mistakes?
No, because Eleanor Roosevelt, they're based off the UN's international human rights that Eleanor Roosevelt herself drafted. We told all these other countries, hey, if you want to be a right democracy, you have to invoke all these rights. We are the only ones that did not after World War II. That's when all these constitutions changed. That's how messed up is that? We are the ones that said, you need to have all of these rights, but we just don't do it. We're not going to do it. Actually, but I will say Roosevelt was drafting another bill of like, I believe that but he died before he could implement it, but he was trying to draft this to be amended into our Constitution. So it wasn't like, without failure, but anyways, the whole point is I didn't want to do anything individually because it doesn't matter if I do an individual right? Like it doesn't matter if I write an amendment for that because our government itself finds a way to violate them, right? So we have to fix the structure first. Like the pillars that make these civil liberties actually happen is the problem. Like we have too many gaps in this country. For one thing, like I hate the fact that on the Denmark embassy says that we're a 2-party system. We're not a 2-party system. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that we're a 2-party system.
Right.
The country names it that way because that's how it's become, because they've created that, which is another thing. Most constitutions actually have stipulations of what political parties are and how many you can, like, why do we not, right? Like, these are things that are so, like, especially the fact that you're not supposed to allow a political party to be established that goes against the principles of the Constitution. Like, like the Constitution Party is very big on wanting to bring the church back in. That drives me nuts. I'm like, That goes against everything this country stands for. I don't care what religion you are, right? Like, I don't really care about that. It's not the point.
God's country. God said I could have them guns, okay?
Yeah, great God. Good, cool. Like, I don't care if you believe in God. I don't care what you believe in. The point is that the whole point of it was that all these religions came here for freedom. And now you're saying we have to take that away. Like,
but not like that.
Yeah, right. So then I was like, okay, well, in order to get like the government fixed, we have to fix the election process. So then I did 4 amendments for elections, right? So
Wow.
Citizens
The one
United,
thing
that
just evolved into the next. Like,
yeah.
it just
And so
dominoed.
well, and then it was like I had 10 originally, and I'm like, okay, cool. So then I did I have to abolish immunity. Like immunity has to go. Like this is ridiculous. Like
Absolutely.
we are also one of the rare countries that gives all this, like that's not even laws, by the way. That's all judge-made decisions. So that does
Yeah.
why we do that?
That's why the judicial system did not have anything written in the freaking Constitution.
Exactly. They can do all
They're
this
like,
stuff.
oh, we're gonna have all these rules, but the judges will let us off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and that's one thing that happened. That started in 1803. It was only 10 years after the Constitution was drafted. Like 10 years, the court started becoming corrupt. That's over 200 years, and we haven't done anything about it. Like, that's insane to me. The fact of the matter that in 1904 was the first time where they started talking about the fact that they were gatekeeping the courts because people couldn't afford to bring their cases. That's 120 years, and we have not done anything about it. That is insane. Like that's
well, it served the people well that intended it to be that way.
Of course, right? But and we go blind, and I'll say like I'm guilty of it. Like I don't know, I didn't know, I didn't care, right? Like I didn't care.
I mean, why would we?
We don't know about it until it's thrown in our face, right?
Yeah.
And generations before us did. They realized it, but and they tried to do what they could. But that's all been butchered too. I mean, well, I would say the civil rights movement is probably one of the biggest things that this country's made.
Right.
And even this in the Reconstruction period, I know people talk about like how Lincoln failed because he didn't punch, like all this stuff, and I'm just like, it's not that simple. Like,
like look at it now. Look at it now. Exactly. It's obviously not.
And all those amendments too, when people are like, "Oh, we've amended the Constitution 27 times." No, we haven't. We've amended the Constitution 17 times, first of all. And 2 of those were cancel each other's out because of the prohibition. So those don't even count, right? Like,
right.
Who cares?
Good point.
So now what we're down to, what is that, 15? And because the Bill of Rights was not an amendment, they weren't really supposed to be amendments. They were actually articles, really originally written as articles. But because the framers, they wanted to keep their little package nice and neat, they were like, we're actually lucky because Madison didn't have to do that. He promised that he would add the Bill of Rights after it was ratified. And probably if it was today, they would not follow through with that promise, right? But they
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, the Bill of Rights was because of a woman. Hey. So that's cool. But then I was like, all right. But then, so I, being from the Midwest, all that stuff that was happening in Minneapolis, like that, like changed my core. I don't know how to say this, but like, because I lived in Minneapolis for 4 months. I mean, I'm from that area. Like I grew up Northwest Wisconsin, like I was a Vikings fan. Yeah, and I'm like, but when I saw what happened with Renee and Alex, especially Alex, like I don't know, something in me like click. I was like, this can never happen again. So then I started looking into immigration. I'm like, oh cool, this has happened so many times.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Many times. And so I was like, okay, I mean, I didn't know that in 1974 that Kent University got shut up because of the protests that were going on there and the National Guard, like all this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, this has happened so many times. So I'm like, I have to write an amendment for immigration.
Like, damn it, now I have to do another amendment.
Exactly. But I was like, okay, I have to do another one, and it has to be about immigration, and I have to be very careful about how I'm going to do it, right? Like I'm like, I have to, like, because I can't, like we can argue this has nothing to do with immigrants themselves. This has to do with the system, fixing the system, right? Like, why are we allowing private institutions to detain people
and have
they're making money
camps?
Yeah,
we talk about that all of the time.
No, we should not. They should never profit off of detaining people. What is wrong with this country?
We've been that way forever. Which again is another thing I did not realize until.
Well, I know, like we've done the concentration camp, Japanese during World War II and stuff like that. Like this isn't new, but the fact that this is still happening, people are getting tortured. Like, what is wrong? Like, I don't care if you
have newborns in there. I don't care.
I don't care.
You cannot treat them like this.
They're not like, and the whole like, and I'll say this, you know what, like, and I have friends that literally will be like, well, because they're the violence. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Have you been attacked by an immigrant?
Yeah, never.
They're so violent. They're
clean
so criminal.
the person
all-
cutting your lawn and
all know
taking care of
statistically.
your kids.
Right. But that's the thing. Is like, I'm just like, and would you jump off a bridge if they told you to too? Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with your agency? Right. Like, that's what blows my mind. I mean, and people that I'm like, like, it's to the point where it angers me. I'm like, if you're going to make a statement, back it up, buddy, back it up. Like, I don't care. And
all day, every day, girl.
Leave comments on my YouTube. I respond to every single one because I'm like, you're going to say something, I'm going to throw it right back at you because, So, and then of course, and then I was like, crap, media, like all this stuff that's happening with the FCC. And I'm like I was like, I love Stephen Colbert. I think that he's so inspirational. I don't know. He like helped me just time of my breakup. Like I would watch him, like, and he would make me laugh. So I'm like, I don't want him to go, right? Like, and then all that stuff. And what a beautiful thing. Like when Jimmy Kimmel got thrown off the air, like how many people fought back, right? Like that, and that's what created this idea. Because I'm like, okay, a public mandate, if you just get enough people together, like, right? Like it can happen.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I have to build a site. I'm going to take these amendments. I'm going to tell people to vote on them. We're going to do this. How do I get though? I was like, okay, but it can't just be a regular site. Like, because what are the politicians going to say? This is what I think about. I'm like, okay, what are they going to say? They're going to say that they're bots, that they're not real people, that they're immigrants, that they're this or that, right? So I'm like, okay, crap. Okay, how am I going to get around that? And I'm like, okay, well, verify them then. They can't deny it, right? If it's verified. Like if you go online and you have to go through Stripe ID, right? So you have to Stripe identity, and Stripe identity has something called number ID, and it's only available in the US. So you have to have at least a social security number. Now I understand, like you can get a social security number and not be a citizen technically, but a majority of them are going to be, right? Like, so, and I have this clause in there, you got to click that you are a citizen, all that stuff. But so, and my big thing is privacy, right? Like, I don't want to know who's on the site. It's not my business. Right. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And, so, you know, they go to Stripe identity, they come back, everything gets erased. Like, I don't know who's on the site. All I know is that what district they belong to. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this will all work out, I'm trying to make sure everything's secure, right? Because like my biggest concern is like, I'll get hacked or something. They're going to try to change the vote. So I'm like, I have to make sure all the votes are auditable because they're going to say that I of course rigged the votes or anything like that. So I have everything like where they can check it. All the data is raw, all that, right? And so I'm like, okay, can't ask for any money. I don't want to ask for any money because then it's tying that. But then I'm like, crap, Stripe charges for ID checks, right? 82. I'm like, okay, it's 82 cents. People pay way more than that, right? So I'm like, at first I was like, oh, I'll cover it. It's only 82 cents. And I was like, oh wait, I want to get like 1 million people in here. I don't have like $1 million.
Yeah.
Or like $120,000. I'm like,
be nice if Stripe would waive that for a project like yours.
They might, but I would have to start. I mean, I could reach out to them, but like they said that I did talk to them and I said, can you do discounts or whatever? And they said, I have to wait till, you know, you get some like credibility and build it up and then we can discuss it. Right. So, to even get it approved was really hard, you know, because I was like, how do I do this where I don't want to I don't even want to know who's paying for what? So, you know, you don't have to put your email, nothing on there because I don't want and somebody does hack it or something like that, right? Like I don't want anybody's information to be taken. I don't want to sell it. I don't care anything about that.
So what is like your ultimate goal with your project?
What I want is people to go to the site and read it. Like the whole point of the site itself too is like everything on there is like fact-based, right? Like everything, like if you have a question, like put it on the thing. Like I don't care. I want people to be able to decide it as themselves. And I made it very clear that when you sign up, right, like all you can show is citizens. You don't get to choose your username because if they post a comment, I don't want people to be influenced by a username or a photo, right? Like that's not it.
Right.
It's based off the theory of veiled ignorance.
No propaganda, just
exactly, nothing. Like it's just like this is pure direct democracy. This is what they did in ancient Greece. It's a digital agora. But it's based off the veil of ignorance where if the point is to go to this and say, if you don't know, which is a theory by John Rawls, by the way, but it was, if you had the opportunity to build the kind of government that you wanted, right? But you did not know your position in society of what it was going to be. You may be the poorest person, you may be the richest, you don't know what your job's going to be, nothing. If you take that into factor, what would the government be that you wanted? And, you know, he theorized like most people want the same thing. When you think about it that way, right? So that's why I built the site that way. Like, so, and you know, I'm saying how people voted. I'm not saying how people voted till the end, like no influence. It removes all confirmation bias, all this stuff, right? I want to try and do this to July 31st because after that, this is how this works. I already have it built on the back end, but reach out to every single politician, and they get asked one question. If they are a part of Congress, it is, will you support the amendments that these people want, right? I'm going to say, this is how many people in your district said they wanted this amendment passed.
Right.
Are you willing to support that? And because you are a representative of this democracy, they can only answer yes or no. No, like, yes, I'll do this if. No, I don't want any, like, no scapegoating. You either say yes or no. This question is, will you propose this amendment by February 2nd, right? So the first 30 days of you being after 2026, so the midterms elections, you have 30 days to propose this amendment in Congress. Then it gets sent to the states. Then I'm going to email every single state legislator, which is about 8,000 people, so that's going to be fun, and ask them, will you ratify this before the next presidential election? Because I have to make sure, because it's a 2-year term, right? So whoever does this, if they say they're going to do it, we're going to hold them to it.
Right.
This does two things, right? It holds people accountable. So if this tells people you have a platform where if you want to know what you're voting on or who you're voting for, if they say they're going to do it, if they say they don't do it or they don't respond, I'm going to put on there that they didn't respond and take that as a no. Then don't vote for them. Like, don't let them come in. They don't represent you. Is that who you want, right? And then, but it also will test that if we are truly a representative democracy. If this many people, if a lot of people want this, right, and they don't do it, then we're not truly a representative democracy.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, like we were saying, here in Missouri, we're already pretty much sure we're not, because the people keep passing referendums and our state legislature keeps trying to overturn it. So,
well, and that's because, and that
long
has to
way
do
to
with
go.
the Federalist Papers too, because the founders believed that no, an average person couldn't understand the government, and that's why they didn't have that. But all of the amendments, everything that I wrote, like, they're bipartisan. There's no arguments over it. They're all about structure, right? So, like, if a politician says this is stupid or it's not going to work, okay, why?
Why?
Like, give me, you know what? Put me in charge of this country for freaking 1 week. This country will be cleaned up. Like, I'll freaking implement every single thing that I wrote. Like, give me a team of like 15, like ADH people, and we got this done.
Yeah.
We're done. Like,
yeah,
we're good. Okay. I mean, and all of this stuff that I wrote, this is common sense.
Right.
It
doesn't have to be this way.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be this way. So now my biggest thing now, though, is trying to get people to actually sign up and get verified, because that's going to be the hardest thing. And I only have 90 days to do it because I want to do it before the midterms. I mean, if it doesn't work, like I said, then I'll figure out something else. But like, this is the only thing I can think of that could work, because, and people I will say too, well, it takes forever to get them ratified. Actually, the 26th Amendment passed in 100 days. Why? Again, because there was a public mandate that people demanded it. Like, it was like the whole entire country gathered. I mean, if every single person that went to the No Kings protests verified,
I know,
like,
I know,
like, right?
I know.
And in that situation, they're getting retaliated against because they're getting face recognition. That's not going to happen with this site. This site is like safe, and you're not going to, it's no violence. So I know this will work. I just need people to do it. And that's the hardest part of this, is trying to get.
So we just need to spread the word.
Yeah, basically.
People don't even understand that they can think like that. Like, that would even be an option, because it's never ever been presented.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's such a lofty, idealistic goal that I doubt anybody thinks that they would have the hope to make that kind of change.
And, and the other problem too is getting over the hump that somebody's actually willing to do this, right? Like,
like, it's already done. She figured it out. Let's go.
She did all the work, guys.
Well, I
pay 82 cents. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, it's like,
she did your homework.
And people are donating. Like, if you can't afford 82 cents or you don't want to use your credit card, there's sponsorship credits. People have been donating sponsorship credits, and like, all of that stuff is tracked. Like, I don't get any of that money. I don't care about the money. Right. And I think, but people don't believe that a person's willing to do something without an agenda, right? And like, that's where, she's just trying to make a name for herself. Let me explain it. I've already had a name for myself. I've been attacked. Like, when I was in Seattle, like, I was like a socialite. I got attacked by papers all the time. I don't want to do that again. Like, trust me, this is not what I wanted to do. I just felt like I predicted this 3 years ago, that something was going to happen. I would be put in this position and I had to do it. So I did it. Like, that's just it. Like, I feel like this is something that I'm supposed to do.
You're on a mission to make change. And
well,
you've gone out there and done the hard work to have a platform and a mechanism for this change to be enacted, and we just need people to engage.
Well, and I had the skills to be able to do it, which is also something I'm really grateful for. I mean, a lot of people have the ability to do all these different things that I could do. So I'm figuring like,
Right.
my life has just been preparing me for this moment my entire life.
It's your time to shine, girl.
Girl,
Shine. I don't want to shine. I want the country to shine. I want the country to shine.
A mirror ball then.
Okay.
Shine.
listen, I'm going to tell you what I want. My empath in me, all I need is for everyone to just be okay. So I can be okay. Okay? That's it. Okay?
That's
Because
exactly
it's all about
it.
me.
Girl, you
Honestly,
need-
okay?
Like, yeah, you must
I
be like
know.
ENFJ. So just like personality wise, like I said, I do all this stuff. And so I'm all of the like, I'm an 8 in the Enneagram, right? Which is the challenger. I fight for the underdog. I'm an ENFJ, where it's like the protagonist has to fight for the people. Like, it's just part of my DNA. Like, I don't know how else to be. And so it's just like, I get that people don't trust, like, I have to have some like underlying thing. Like, I don't want to be an influencer. Like, even on my channel, right? Like, I don't even like doing these things where like, I don't want people to listen to me. I want you to take what I'm saying and go and figure it out yourself. Like, don't listen to what I'm saying. Could I be wrong at some point? I mean, I'd like to say that I'm not, but could I be? Sure. Sure.
But I'm going to need some evidence to back it up if you're going to argue with me about it.
If you want to come, like, I mean, listen, I was like a debater, like, like in grade school. I don't know, since you're from the Midwest, did you guys have roundtables like in grade school or like junior high roundtables?
Yeah, we did it it was not real.
Oh my gosh, no, but I loved it. I was like, put me in that debate and I will win. Like I won every time. I was like, yes, you want to go to debate? Let's debate. Like, I love debating because I'm just like, okay, like
this landlord really started something.
Oh, you know what's really funny about that too is I actually warned, like the very first conversation we had, I was like, yeah, one thing you don't want to do is like mess with me when it comes to law. I don't even know why I said it. I think we were talking about something. I'm like, I will not give up. Like, I will not give up. Like, I don't care. Like, and I will be a thorn in your side. And even when at this point, like the case is still ongoing, right? Like, if North Carolina, like of all the places I could have moved to, I moved to North Carolina, which, by the way, in the paper, which is really crazy, and this is something I forgot to mention too, is that the courts, the U.S. director of the courts, of the U.S. courts, is from North Carolina.
Really?
The chief justice at the Fourth Circuit is from North Carolina. They all are friends. They all connect back. Like in the paper,
it's a good old boys club.
It's a good old boys network.
Well, it's funny that you say that because that's actually a thing in North Carolina. The Good Old Boys Club was actually a litigation thing where they literally kicked out people that weren't part of a group. But if you look on the paper, I did a little, 6 degrees of map where everybody's connected. And I said, and it goes all the way back to SCOTUS. So like, of all the states I picked the one that's the most insulated and protected in the freaking U.S. court system.
Oh, you're going to break them walls.
Succeed anywhere.
Yeah, we're good.
I don't know.
She wrote it. She did the homework. She did the whole group project. All we have to do is like look at it.
If Congress does know about the site, let me tell you, they're not going to feel threatened by it until people start voting right.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's on the site. So Congress can go on the site themselves and vote no if they want.
So can you tell everybody what your site is again?
Oh, citizensbeforepolitics.org.
Okay.
Listen, I wanted a shorter one, but to find a domain in this country is like nearly impossible.
It's hard to find a domain that's available and you like the name and all that.
And it's like took me forever to find the name. So that was why the biggest delay. But so please just go get verified. So we can
for sure get that in the show notes. And where should people follow you on the socials?
Oh gosh. I mean, I'm on, YouTube right now. It used to be Lessons of Charity, which is my handle in TikTok and YouTube. I did start one for Citizen Politics, which I just collaborating, but I mean, honestly, like I work full time, plus I'm litigating 3 cases, plus I'm trying to do this. It's like I hate social, you guys, I literally hate it. Like, because when I had the magazine, I was managing like 17 different accounts. Like it burnt me out. And so it takes so much effort for me. And I know I need to get better with it. So, but like on Blue Sky, there's a Citizens Before Politics.
It's really hard to run all of those things.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I know. And I know. TikTok, yes.
That's where I found my girl. I was like, oh, come on. What did I say? Come on the pod, babe.
I was like, hey,
yeah.
So,
why not?
We're going to have to like cut a lot of this. It's so long, but anyways, but this is, it will work. I know it will work. Just people have to actually do it. So, and it's like, I want to prove, Come on, guys, don't want to prove the government wrong that we're not stupid.
Yes.
Well, kudos to you for, being creative and really thinking about what we need to correct to like get at the root of the problems that we have across, all sectors really.
Yeah. Well, I hope people listen because it's really hard. You have to understand this generation, not our gen. I think our generation were kind of taught about amendments, but
Yeah.
Gen Z and
no
the later
idea.
millennial, they have they don't talk about it anymore. They've literally purposely done that for a reason.
Yes, absolutely. Well, not maybe. We should totally have you back on and we can go through your amendments one by one.
One by one, yeah.
Yeah.
And this could be a series, girl. Okay.
Well, I
'Cause
appreciate that.
You could come back and do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll be back in your ears soon and on YouTube and wherever you can find us. And make sure you check out Charity's website, socials, and check it out. Like, check back in because we're going to have more of these conversations soon. So thank you, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.